If you're going to be driving from New Jersey to Illinois, you're gonna be passing Philadelphia, so you might as well stop. The visitor center at Independence Mall has bathrooms, air conditioning, and you never know when Dr. Franklin might not be sitting aside greeting visitors.
You're sitting in the oldest surviving capital of the United States. It has that honor temporarily for just 10 years, the decade of 1790 until 1800. Right now, you're sitting in the House of Representatives. The most important thing to happen in this building will be the first inauguration of a new president. Now, it's our third inauguration. Washington already had two. You'd think we have this down by now, but by far it's the most important we had and will ever have. Still up on the balcony up there watching are this unique group of people, European diplomats. And what the heck does an inauguration mean to them? What is an inauguration? Kings and queens don't willingly give up power. It's taken violently in revolution or revolt, or passed on peacefully when one monarch dies to the next. But how strange it must have been for them to watch. And here you have His Excellency, President Washington, walking through those doors, followed by his Vice President, John Adams. They're going to sit down somewhere up here next to each other, and at a short ceremony, George Washington's going to willingly choose to hand over the car keys to the country. The entire Library of Congress sit in the rooms right over here. It's a more prestigious office. It's a longer term of 6 years. Only 2 senators for every seat, so fewer of them. And the best part is you don't have to worry about campaigning for election. We don't vote for our senators until the 1900s. They're chosen by state legislatures. So better job security.
This little brick building has a fabulous little display and a rather important sidebar in the museum. It doesn't take long to read your way through, but this quick discussion of the significance of our founding documents is really spectacular. And also lets us see the things that, the inkwell that probably signed the Declaration of Independence, and printed copies of the Declaration, the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution. If you think this road looks and sounds rough to drive on, check out this one. I believe this is the Second National Bank. We are really into our Greco-Roman revival here.
I do. Now, you know, in my day, this process would take 8 hours or something.
At least. And that's just the preliminary sketches.
You spend all day going, are you done with my arm yet? Can I put my arm, can I move my... It's why you don't actually see very many portraits from my day with people doing interesting and dynamic poses. It's a lot of this. Because you can hold this for a lot longer than you can hold this. Yeah. Although the occasional artist did figure out ways to work around that. They would do things like they would pre-paint the entire portrait with different options of clothing, different options of outfits, and then they would come to you and say, I'm going to do your portrait, very good. Which outfit do you want to be wearing? Ah, yes, I think you'll look very good in the blue dress, and then all they have to do is paint your face over the rest of the body.
Wow.
So occasionally, if you see a painted portrait from my day of someone, and you're kind of going, it's good, but that head is far too large for that body, but that body doesn't look quite right for that face. It's because they're not connected in any way. The face was added later.
So this building was used by the city of Philadelphia for almost 100 years, from 1791 to 1889. What you're currently looking at is the courtroom of Old City Hall, used typically by the city courts, like the Mayor's Court and a few others. More notably, this space was shared with the United States Supreme Court for its first 9 years, from 1791 to 1800. And that is why Philadelphia is the temporary capital of the country. The entire federal government is here in Philadelphia. In 1800, they leave to move into their brand new capital in Washington, D.C.
These photos are great. So here's the mall today. This is what it looked like behind Independence Hall back in 1950. They took down a few buildings. The Liberty Bell is housed in its own museum. This is a human Liberty Bell that was done at Camp Dix, New Jersey in 1918. Or thereabouts. But yes, those are all doughboys. And here it is, surrounded by its admirers.
Yeah, look at it. Do you want one?
Christ Church Burial Ground, AD 1719. It's a little hard to read, I can tell. That is something we do wrong with American history. We were here before 1776. We just had a different government. But it's still our history. What were we doing here while we were colonies? We never talk about that enough. For all my friends in North Carolina, Colonel Edward Buncombe, born 1742, died 1778, so during the war, a North Carolina Revolutionary War hero. I'm not sure what to make of these grave markers that are on tables. It's an altar. It's a sacrificial table for the sacrificial lamb. Through the middle of the burial grounds is this row of family vaults. Right next to the street is where you will find Benjamin Franklin. Now, did they move it here so that their grave was so easily accessible by the public? I know he was famous even then. The Arch Street Meeting House. This is where the Quakers were.
This room was finished in 1811.
1811.
Yes, and it's been in continual use since then. The bench you're sitting on is one of the benches that was built for the building. There's some older ones in here too, and some people contributed benches.
My bottom feels very honored to be sitting on a bench that was made in 1811.
Right.
Did you remember that Lucretia Mott and Susan B. Anthony and Alice Paul were all Quakers? I'm not sure I remembered that. So there's this sign out in front of the meeting house asking, how will you change the world? I'm sure nobody will be surprised by my answer. The outside of Betsy's home, and this would have been her upholstery shop out front. An unassuming little place. Hello, Betsy, and how is your shop today?
Doing just fine. Working on a ruffle floor mattress today.
The fabrics were so expensive at this time, the bed curtains cost more than the bed itself. Betsy Ross told me to check out Elfreth's Alley, a collection of homes from the 1720s to 1830s that is still being lived in. Okay, I'd move here, though I probably couldn't afford to. These places are spectacular. Again, look at the brickwork on this. This house has its firemen's. That's I'm pretty sure that's the fire code. That's to tell you which fire department they subscribe to. Of course, I'm ending my visit with a Philly cheesesteak. This thing is huge.